Hello and welcome to the Extended Greg YouTube channel. I'm Greg, and on today's show we're going to be taking a look at the Olympus TG-6. Let's get into it. So the Olympus TG-6 is a very compact and versatile camera. This is the 6th generation in Olympus's TUF series, and this particular one is 12 megapixels as far as the sensor is concerned. It does use a Sony sensor, but it is still very good image quality, and it's very specific to its application. So we see it does have a lens, and in this particular case it has a lens protector on here, but you can add accessories. Now everything within here is already waterproofed and hermetically sealed, so that way there's no chance of dust getting in, there's no chance of pretty much any damage to the camera being caused, including drops, things of that nature. So there's a flat piece of glass here that's able to pretty much absorb any of that. Now granted, it is still subject to scuffing, things like that, so it is important to protect it just like you would with any other lens. But you can actually change these accessories while you're going in the field, and they just clip in like that. So we do have a flash. We have an LED for video mode and microscope mode. On the top, we could see that it has both GPS and Wi-Fi. In addition to our standard zoom control, it has a mode selection scroll wheel to be able to choose our modes, has a standard shutter button to be able to take photos, power button as a standard power indicator, and then it has this over here, which is off and log. So something that's nice about this particular camera is that you can actually keep it in a backpack, not be shooting with it, and be able to log exactly where you went. So it will receive the GPS consistently and then log that to a file. Now the file will live in RAM until you turn it off, so it is possible for it to fill up, things like that, so there's a certain amount of time that you would need to flush it to the disk, if you would, every so often. I don't exactly know how long that is. I didn't go on a trip long enough to be able to test that. But I do know that it consumes battery power, so you know, it does keep in mind out for that. So the GPS is nice because it's able to actually put the location stamp as well as the timestamp accurately on each individual photo. Looking around on the back, we do see it has the record button for video. It has a standard selection knob for mode, and then info, playback, standard settings on a 4-way D-pad, OK button, and menu. So it has a lot of the same features that you'd come to expect, but one thing it does not have is a viewfinder. So it only has the digital LCD screen in order to be able to frame your shot and be able to take it. But I did not find any issues with trying to do that, even in direct sunlight. So I found the LCD to be more than adequate to be able to do it, even without a sunshade, without anything else like that. Taking a look at the bottom, we see the battery and memory card compartment. Now, something that's nice about this is it has a dual lock in order to be able to open it. So that way, if you're diving with it or anything else like that, you're not accidentally going to open it when you're out and trying to use it. So the doors themselves actually have a rubber seal on them. That's what makes this case watertight. So a little press, we can lock it in, and we can lock that, and that prevents this lock, the main lock, from opening. It has a standard 1/4" 1/4-20 thread to be able to mount it to standard tripods and accessories just like you would anything else. And then around on this side, it has another dual lock, we see. And this will have an HDMI output as well as USB, which can be used for either data transfer or for charging. So we'll close that back. And then the final side, it just has a very sturdy mount to be able to connect the tether to the wrist strap or whatever else. So one of the key accessories that I got for this that I think was critical and probably should have come with it is this, which is a lens cap. Now this one opens so you don't actually have to remove it, but to install it, we would take off the protective ring, and it would just lock in place, and then we can use it normally. And that definitely made it a lot easier to be able to store it, to be able to just leave it hanging without worrying about the lens getting messed up because of something hitting into it. And then another thing that I got for it that I found to be very useful while actually diving with it is a float. And this is a float wrist strap. And it's not much buoyancy, so it doesn't really impact anything, but it does give a slightly positive buoyancy to the camera itself. So if it does get lost or fall off your wrist, it will float on the surface to where you can see the orange, and the camera will hang just below. And I find that that was very effective as well, although obviously I didn't let the camera go because in this particular case I was in the ocean. So didn't want to have to go searching for it or anything else, but in still water, things of that nature, it wouldn't be much of an issue, but it will at least keep it from sinking to the bottom. So opening this up and turning the camera on, it's got a lot of the same controls that you would expect. We see it has the GPS is locking up. I currently have it in auto mode. It shows the amount of record time available as well as the number of exposures. We can see I currently have it set to record in 4K, so this is capable of recording in 4K, and I have it set to 30p in this particular case. And the ISO, everything else like that is being set automatically, as well as the battery meter, etc. It does have an integrated microphone and whatnot that also works underwater, which is located on the top. So, overall, it's pretty much everything that you would come to expect from a standard dry camera, but can be used underwater interchangeably in the rain, while hiking, etc. And it is advertised to also be able to take drops and falls. So if you were hiking with this and you dropped it on the trail, it shouldn't be an issue. But inside of the manual, it did notate that if you drop it at all, you should get it checked out for service in order to confirm that the waterproofing and the overall seal integrity has not been compromised. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. You don't want to drop it incidentally. And they do sell silicone rubber cases for these, but from my understanding, it interferes with some of the lens accessories and things of that nature. So I chose not to get it. But the response time for it to take a picture is excellent, and I found no issues with it at all. And something you'll notice is that when I take the picture, it will pop up with what the current temperature is, as well as what the current barometric pressure is, as well as the elevation. And I found that to be very handy, especially it tracks negative numbers as well if you're underwater. So you can actually see where you are, not only in space as far as GPS is concerned, but find out some environmental factors. And that's saved as metadata within the image, and also as an external file that can be used within their editor to be able to export and graph certain things. So we're not going to go over those types of things today, but that kind of functionality does exist, as well as map overlays for things like the log. So something I was very surprised and happy with was the underwater mode. Now, when you first pull it up, it will actually prompt and say what kind of diving or what kind of snorkeling are you doing. So it has underwater wide, macro, microscope, and HDR. And in my particular case, I did underwater snapshot for snorkeling. So this says it's optimized for shallow water, etc. So it will prompt every time that you pull this up. So I use this in order to get some shots like these. And these pictures were taken on fully automatic in this underwater mode. And I tried playing back and forth. I also took a few that you can see here in full auto mode. And the color just doesn't stand up without massive correction. And I'll show you some of the corrected images here. So something that I liked about this was that the camera itself was very fast. You know, the time to focus and actually shoot the picture is very quick. And it definitely helped out a lot while I was on the surface snorkeling because I was bouncing up and down like crazy. I'll show you a quick video clip here of what I was going through as I was trying to take these photos. And that does also happen to be the video from the camera itself. I did get better as I went through it and got a little more comfortable with the waves, and as the waves calmed down, it did perform a lot better. Obviously, the image stabilization is not sufficient to be able to overcome, waves 1 to 2 feet in height. So, that's not really a knock on the camera. It's just a knock on, it's the circumstances of the environment that really can't be helped. But the camera performed more than adequately and came out with some very clear underwater photos, despite the choppiness of the surf above. So there are more features that are within this camera that I'm not going to get into here, some examples being the macro capability as well as the microscope capability. But I think that's a little bit out of the scope of this video. So as far as an action camera to be able to take into the field and not have to worry about its sensitivity to moisture, drops, falls, etc., I was very happy with how this camera performed, and the image quality and output were more than exceeding my expectations for a camera like this. And especially in a place where you don't necessarily want to take your phone because of the hazards involved, since you might need to use it as a phone, I think that this definitely provided a compact and very capable solution to be able to obtain the images and archive the memories for the future. Thanks for watching the video today. If you would like to see more videos like this, be sure to check out this playlist right here. Also, if you like the video, be sure to hit that like button and leave that comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And then hit that notification bell. That way you know the next time we're getting extended. So until then, take care.